primary ignition.
Welcome to Unlimited Power. My name is D-Rod, and here's my Twilight of the Republic pre-release guide for Ashoka Tano. Now, if this is one of your first time watching these guides, I want to start off by saying the goal here is to look at commons and uncommons within the set that work really well with Ashoka and her leadership abilities. Yes, there are going to be some great rares and legendaries that I think that do very well with Ashoka, but we want to focus on cards that you're going to see more of within the 6-packs found in your pre-release kit or at your sealed kit. There are also going to be some commons and uncommons I may not bring up. And that's just because these are some other ones I really want to highlight. It doesn't mean that there aren't other cards in here you want to look at. I just want to show you some good ideas of what you should be building around per color. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at Ahsoka. If you're playing in the pre-release, this is the only way you're going to have Ahsoka in a limited build, right? So her ability allows you to use one of the new keywords, coordinate. Coordinate says if you have 3 or more units, you gain whatever the ability coordinate says you're going to obtain. In this instance, coordinate says as an action, you can exhaust Ahsoka and attack with a unit, and it gets +1/+0 for that attack. Now, you exhaust her, so you can only do this once per phase. So it's pretty decent. It's 3 units in play. You make one stronger and you attack, helping you either defeat a strong unit or just put some more pressure and damage on the board. As an epic action, you can deploy Ahsoka when you have 5 or more resources. That means you can do this as early as turn 4. So she is a really good early drop leader. Now she's a 3/6 unit, which don't let that dissuade you. 6 is a great health line, and when she's deployed, she actually still has coordinate, but now it says she gets +2/+0 as long as there are 3 units on the board. So when you deploy her, if she's the 3rd unit, you now have a 5/6 in play as early as turn 4. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the cards I think will work well with her according to her hero aspects of aggression and heroic. Soldier of the 501st is a 1-cost unit with raid 1, so this means when it attacks, it's a 2/3. You're going to want a couple of low-cost units to trigger your coordinate abilities across the board. Since coordinate is the key thing Ahsoka has, we're going to focus on a lot of more low-cost units and token generations. That way you always have her ability online. Now, Soldier of the 501st, because they're 1 cost, isn't a bad one. It can hit harder with that 2 bonus, or Ahsoka can raise it to 3. Batch Brothers is a 3-cost unit that gives you a Trooper token, and Trooper tokens are 2/2 units. So on turn 2, you can get 2 units out of that, and you're ready to go for when Ahsoka comes online. Next, you have Jesse. Jesse's an interesting one because Jesse's a ground unit with raid 1. He's a 4/4. So that means when he attacks, he's a 5/4. But the penalty with Jesse and having such great stats is that he's going to give your opponent 2 droid tokens. Now, this isn't horrible. Red has a lot of answers to deal with a lot of tokens, and it kind of benefits you a little bit more because droid tokens are so small. They're 1/1s. So you may have some immediate answers to deal with them. Jesse will also be someone who brings in a little bit of hate for your opponent in case you need to pull them away from another unit. Now, in the aggression aspect alone, I want to recommend Grenade Strike. If you're going to give your opponent some droid tokens, Grenade Strike will deal with a lot of those. Deal 2 damage to a unit and 1 damage to another unit in the same arena. So kill a clone, kill a droid, kill 2 droids, whatever you need. Heavy is another great card. A 4-cost 4/4 with the coordinate ability of Raid 2. This means it can now attack as a 6/4 as long as you have 3 units in play. Now, when defeated, though, Heavy deals 1 damage to each enemy ground unit, which is great for clearing the board or keeping the pressure on all of your opponent's units. Next is another low-cost coordinate unit, and it's the Clone Heavy Gunner. A 1/3 that gets +2/+0, so it can easily be a 3/3, and it really keeps that pressure going. You're going to have a lot of low-cost units like this with coordinate, and you're going to have a lot of tokens in play, and it's going to force your opponent to make some decisions. Yes, they will go after your coordinate cards first, but that's all right. That's what this deck is trying to do. It's going for that more mid-range aggro tempo. So Now, command aspect, I think, is going to be the best thing to pair with Ahsoka because it does a lot with clones and strengthening them. The first card is Shakti, a 4-cost 3/4 unit that says each friendly token unit gets +1/+0. Droid or clone will get this bonus. But on attack with Shakti, you can create clone trooper tokens. So you can generate them, and she may not survive too long, but your opponent has to make decisions on what they're trying to stop, and she keeps units coming into play. Advanced Recon Commando is a great one with Ahsoka because it has the overwhelm mechanic. Using Ahsoka's ability to strengthen a unit by +1 for an attack really matters with overwhelm. In a world where you have 2/2 tokens and 1/1 tokens, overwhelm can make sure you're not only killing a unit with little penalty, but that you are getting more damage done on a base with some of these bigger units. So if you can use Ahsoka's ability to give the Advanced Recon Commando +1, well, now it's a 5/3. If it's a 5/3 hitting a battle droid, that's 4 damage to your opponent's base and 1 battle droid less for them. Seems great. Move to the next card, Clone Commander Cody. 5 cost, 4/4 with Overwhelm. Then he gives all friendly units +1/+1 and Overwhelm as long as you have Coordinate. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Cody and Ahsoka. Ahsoka and Cody. if you get these cards, it's totally worth it playing green, in my opinion. Now, in Vigilance Blue, it's a little bit different. You have a lot of answers to deal with, people going wide with tokens. You have your removal here in blue. So I understand if people just want to prefer it. It doesn't have a lot of the same unit strength as some of the other colors, but let's take a look at the cards I'd recommend. The Outspoken Representative is a 2-cost unit that can have Sentinel as long as you have another Republic official. That's not hard when you have a Republic hero. Now, when they're defeated, you get to create a Clone Trooper token, and that kind of pairing is good. If you're going to have a unit leave play, but it puts one back into play, then I think that's going to be really solid because you don't want to lose Coordinate. The Sentinel here is not as important as it is the body. Having the body to trigger Coordinate is the more important thing. The 41st Elite Corps has Coordinate as well, except they become a 3/6 for only 3 resources. And there's just some good value when you need someone to hit something a little bigger or try to take out a couple of clones. He can do that without being worried about being defeated too easily. Last is the Grievous Reassembly. Heal 3 damage from a unit, create a battle droid token. You might as well heal Ahsoka when she's in play and get another unit on your board, because your opponent's going to want to take out Ahsoka pretty quick, or any of your other units. This is going to help you, again, ensure that a unit stays in play a little bit longer, while also keeping Coordinate online. For the cunning aspect, Wolfpack Escort. 1 cost Space Flyer 2/1 that reads, when played, you may return a friendly non-leader, non-vehicle unit to its owner's hand. So that would be you. You don't have to do this, which I think is what makes it better. So it only costs 1, so you can trigger your Coordinate ability pretty good. It's in the space arena, so if your opponent doesn't go heavy space, you're fine there to have this 2/1. And if you really do need to bounce something, you have the option to. What would you bounce? Well, that's going to vary on the situation. But let's say you have a Shakti out there and she's almost dead. Bounce her, put her in your hand, play her next turn or that same turn. Anything that you can do to either like trigger token abilities, damage abilities, or just, healing someone while getting them off the board. Another card you could bounce to your hand is Plo Koon, a 5-cost unit, ground unit that has the ambush mechanic and Coordinate of Raid 3. This means when you do attack with Plo Koon, he is a 6/6 with ambush if Coordinate is online. You can play the Wolfpack Escort, bounce Plo Koon back to your hand, and play him again next turn. Or maybe that same turn you play the Escort. And lastly is Clear the Field. This has the ability for 2 resources to choose a non-leader unit that costs 3 or less and return it and each enemy unit with the same name as it to its owner's hands. So this means if you name the Clone Trooper token or the Battle Droid token, you essentially will erase them from the board. Tokens cannot exist in the discard pile, in the hand, or in the deck. So they are immediately removed from the game once they leave play, giving you a literally clear the field, clear the arena, clear the board situation. For the heroes, we're going to recommend a couple of clone builders here. The Phase 1 Clone Trooper, which is a 3/2 unit for 2. The Republic Commando, which is a 2/5 unit with Coordinate and Saboteur. That 5 is going to ensure it stays alive a bit longer, which is why we picked this one as a good 3-drop. And then Drop In, which is a supply event that gives you 2 Clone Trooper tokens. And lastly, for non-aspect, it's Headhunter Squadron, which is a okay 2-drop space unit. The Volunteer Soldier, which you can pay for 2 instead of 3, because you should have trooper units in play when you're playing red, white, heroic, and such a token-heavy set, as well as the Volunteer Soldier hits for 3. And lastly is private manufacturing. Pay 2 to draw 2. That's just good maths. If you control no token units, though, you have to put 2 cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck in any order. This isn't bad if you have cards in your hand, but it is ideal to make sure you have a token out before playing this. So these are my suggestions when playing Ashoka Tano. I'm very excited for this character. I love that she's a leader, that she's a unit, and that she's in the starter deck. And this is definitely one, if you're unsure what you're going to play for the event, Ahsoka and Grievous are the best ones to look at and spend more time reading about because they're guaranteed leaders in your pre-release kit. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you play Ahsoka at your pre-release, what rares, legendaries stood out to you that really made her work. What color did you play? I'm excited to play her. I hope I get the right setup for her at my local pre-release, and I wish you luck at yours. So have fun if you're playing on the pre-release this upcoming weekend of November 1st, and may the Force be with you.